Hey family, we have just over a week left in our 21 days of prayer and fasting. And if you haven't participated yet, you can still jump in. That's all right. I encourage you in some way this next week to commit some time to praying and fasting, being very intentional. And the reason we pray and fast is not to twist God's arm. It's like getting in tune with what God is doing. It helps us just hear God better. It helps us see what God is doing around us better. It's kind of like you might be, well, in fact, I've got a demonstration here. I've got this is a multimedia presentation. I've got this little survival, like you spin it, and it's really annoying sound. But there's also a radio dial on here. You can't really see, but I miss like the old school radios where you had to turn the dial and you couldn't exactly get to 99.9. You just kind of had to tune it in. And I feel like fasting is a little bit like that. Like it helps us tune in to what God is saying, what God is doing around us. So jump in this week. And I can't say that, I've heard this a direct voice from God during this time, but I have felt a call to personal repentance and confession. So maybe I have heard God speaking to me, but I realized that I've gotten really good at seeing what's wrong with other people. I've gotten really good at seeing people's their arguments and breaking them down and just ways that I disagree. I've gotten really good at spotting hypocrisy in you, and that's what God's been working on me. Like Matthew, what about you, Matthew? Like what are you holding? What are you? And so just repenting and saying, God forgive me. And so I've put together a brief confession guide, so to speak. It leads you through some scripture, some things to pray if you wanted or felt the need to confess personally. And there is definitely a place for corporate confession and repentance, and we need to do that. But there are times when we just need to say, God, forgive me. God, I confess for. So I've put that guide together. There's a link there in the comments on a completely different topic. We are getting closer to a point where we'll be able to meet together again as a church. It's not next week, it's probably not next month, but more people are getting vaccinated, and the numbers are headed in the right direction. The number of hospitalizations is creeping down. The positivity rate is going in the right direction. So those are all good things. And we want to get your feedback. We want to know, like, at what point will you be comfortable gathering again? And that first step is going to be indoor microchurches. We were going to do that in the fall, but the numbers spiked, and so we felt we couldn't do that. So as a city, as a county, we are currently in level orange. It's still high risk, and there's different levels, and there'll be another link in the video comments where you can see the comparison between the levels and what at this level you can have this many people, at this level you can have this many people. And so we're currently at level orange, which allows for 50 people indoors in a large meeting space. So that's what we're thinking, large spaces indoors. But we want to get your feedback. Of course, we'll be wearing masks. And then, like, at what point will you feel comfortable coming back to a worship service? And we will follow the guidelines, take temperatures, but at what point, like, maybe you're like, Matthew, I'm ready now. Others in our church are not ready now, and so we just want to gauge that. We're just getting feedback, and there's nothing, and we don't have any dates in mind. It's going to start getting warmer, and I can see some Sundays where we just like, hey, this week instead of online, let's all go to the park. Let's worship like we did in September. So be watching for that, but because we need each other. So we put together a survey. There's also some questions on there, just some check-in questions on how you're doing. So we're staying in tune with that. And so if you fill it out, that would help us tremendously in our planning. And so if you do that just for fun, anyone who completes the survey, I'm going to draw a random name, and we have really gone all out this time. If I draw your name, you will be the lucky winner of this 21-piece kitchen tool and caddy set. I mean, we got peelers, can opener, pizza cutter. Who doesn't need a new pizza cutter? Ladles, mixing spoons, spatulas. And if that's not enough, wait, there's more. I also have this extra copy. I have an extra copy I found in my library today of C.S. Lewis, Mere Christianity. It's classic, written 70 years ago, but it feels like it could be written last year. So please take a few minutes to do the survey. The survey would probably take about 5 minutes. I think it's 15 questions, but there's just multiple choice that would help us tremendously. I hope you're doing well. We've been praying for you. This COVID is going on a long time, and the winter months just makes it extra challenging because there's not a lot to do outdoors. So know that we are praying for you, and we love you, and we're going to get through this together. There's a light at the end of the tunnel, but we want to finish. We want to finish strong. We want to finish strong. So I love you. God bless.